scientists of history, or most of them have been men. Like, there are a few women, but like generally, like that's seen as like a man's thing. And so I guess girls might just be like naturally turned off by that.
Before, it had been mostly men who were occupying those positions in society, and now women are being encouraged to pursue those job opportunities, so they have a whole nother aspect of their careers like opened up to them.
Probably just because they're taught from a young age like girls aren't good at math, and then teachers, like older teachers that have that idea in their head will assume that, and then maybe teach like they'll put less effort in for a girl that's struggling than for a boy that's struggling, because they assume she's struggling because she can't do well in it because she's a girl, not that she just needs more help.
Most girls have to take their risk in order to be what they really want, and if that's what they really want, then they're going for the risk, and many of them don't think that they have enough opportunity to do that.
But I fear that we somehow discourage young women from getting into the field, and that there's a perception that it's not very collaborative, and I think a lot of young women want to be in collaborative environments.
Well, there are plenty of obstacles, I suppose you would say, in studying engineering, because it's not an easy field. You have to learn a lot about physics and mathematics, and you have to be able to apply those to solving new problems.
Since it's a little bit harder than some other subjects, women just think they're not going to be smart enough. And when it's hard, sometimes people also don't want to work so hard.
I started liking it last year after taking honors chemistry, because my teacher really opened up my eyes and showed me all different ways that you can be a scientist without just doing labs. Like, you can be a scientist by like taking notes, by studying on your own, by watching videos, by just learning in depth actual elements.
That my dad said to me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "It's going to be really funny, but I've always wanted to be a doctor." And he said, "Really? It's a long road. It's a long road to get there." And I said, "Yeah, I know I probably can't do it because I think I got my first B in school that year." And my dad said, "If you really want to do it, I think you're crazy, but if you really want to do it, just go for it." And so I set my trail like that, and I focused and studied really hard and enjoyed every moment of the process.
Well, to be honest, I think it started more with computers, and probably when in the 70s, when the first Star Wars movie came out. I wanted to be out there in space and having alien creatures as my friends and things like that. So it kind of led to what would get me in that direction, and so technology kind of popped in. And back then, technology isn't what it is today. But nonetheless, it kind of got me into computers and went to computer engineering, and here I am.
Like, people will ask my brother like what he wants to be when he grows up, and he'll say like an engineer, and then they'll ask me and I'll say an engineer, and then they'll just get really surprised.
Teachers will often segregate genders based on partners. In many classes, like, it'll say pair up with a girl, pair up with a boy.
But in my engineering classes, there are many times where I would be like the only girl in the class. So I went from walking into a classroom of, anywhere between 40 or 50, and you're the only female. Sometimes people, especially girls, think, "Oh, that must have been cool." I'm like, no. Not really. A lot of it being because sometimes they look at you weird. Two, then they think you can't do anything, or you're not smart enough. And so sometimes that poses a challenge.
I worked in a 5-story building, and there was one women's restroom. It was on the 2nd floor by the secretaries, and it was called the Ladies' Lounge. And in fact, when I came to aerospace, the thing that impressed me first was that for every men's restroom, there was a women's restroom. But the numbers have grown some, but we still need to go a lot further in terms of getting women into math and science.
Out of the 23 graduates from Purdue University who are astronauts, 2 of them are women.
In medical school, in certain male-dominated specialties, there was a lot of inappropriate behavior. So in those days, years and years ago, people didn't really make a big deal of it, but it was very prevalent. That was the only time, and that was only in certain specialties. I specifically remember doing neurosurgery and general surgery, and it was definitely a more male-dominated, group of people, and there was a lot of harassment there.
It's the world around you, it's your future. And if you don't know anything about the basics of STEM, it may not carry you far, because you can apply it to any type of jobs that you are going to endeavor in the future.
I've gotten to do a lot of really interesting things, and I followed what I enjoyed, and I did that to some extent despite what I was hearing about how women don't do those things during that time. So I think about what you really like and pursue it.
You really want to enjoy the subject that you're in, because I come to work every day and I love it. I don't really feel like it's work, even though it is work and there's a lot of things involved. I really love what I do, and I think if you can find that passion in the field, especially in the field of science, which they're always looking for women to get into, it's a great field to be in.
Don't be afraid. And don't let anyone tell you or convince you otherwise. If it's something you really feel passionate about, or think that it is something you can do or want to do, just do it.